Hey, what's up? Welcome to the FCBC Upper Room Youth Experience on YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Enjoy the experience.
Hey young dreamers, welcome to Virtual Upper Room. So glad you decided to click the YouTube link and tune in with me today. I'm Pastor Trey, and I'm so glad that you are here today to learn more about God, to continue to grow, to find ways to live, love, and serve, even through this period of COVID, even through this season of quarantine. We are still here. We are still excited to be connecting with one another. We have a great lesson in store for you today. But before we get started, just want to say that during the month of September, we will not be having any more check-ins. We had such a good time with the check-ins this summer, but during this month when you guys are starting school, you guys are adjusting, we want to give you time to adjust, and we want to give you time just relax and lean in to your schedule a little more. But we will have more things coming in October, so make sure that your parents are getting the emails. Make sure you're asking your parents for the emails when we send out our schedule, because we have a lot of good things scheduled for you. But for now, let's go ahead and get into this lesson. Hey dreamers, I'm Pastor Trey.
Hey, I'm Miss Serena.
And we have an exciting lesson today for you. But before we get started, first, let's say our identity statement. Are you ready?
Let's go. We are an ever-evolving community of visionaries, dreamers, and doers who have been called by God to live the lives we were created to live, commanded by God to love beyond the limits of our prejudices, and commissioned by God to serve.
Amen. Called to live, commanded to love, and commissioned to serve. And kids, if you can't remember all that, what 3 words can you say? Live, love, and serve. Serena, you know something I'm grateful for today?
What is that?
Just electricity. It's all around me, and it's just so wonderful.
Yes, me too. You know, I don't know how people used to get things done without electricity before.
Right. Could you imagine just having to do just simple things without electricity and having to use like a candle or something?
Man, imagine how long it would take just to do simple things. Like how long it will take to wash clothes like they used to do.
What did they used to do? Because I know for me, it's very simple. Now that's an easy task for me. I just get my clothes, I put them in a pile, put them in the machine, pour a little detergent in, and press a button. And that's all I got to do.
Well, I don't just press a button. I actually have to pay with a card.
Oh.
But it is so much easier now than ever before to wash a load of clothes.
Oh.
Like for your great-grandparents, it was much more time consuming, a much more process than it is with modern day washing clothes. Like back in the days, and I'm talking about back in the days, on Sunday nights, they used copper tubs and they would fill it with clothes, soap, and water and soak the clothes overnight. Wow. Then the next day, they would have to add more soap, and then the tubs would be placed over fires. The clothes would turn over and over for hours until they were clean. Wow. Then at some point, if there were any clothes that remained dirty, they would have to rub it on a scrubbing washboard until all the dirt was removed. You know, after that, they had to wring out the clothes using a hand-cranked machine with 2 rollers and then wring them by hand. Jeez. And you know, they had to do something else. They would hang them out to dry or lay them by a fire for hours until they were dry.
Jeez.
That is how it was done until the invention of a washing machine. And you know, Trey, that did not happen until the 1920s.
Sheesh, I can't. Wow, that's a lot. I can't even imagine having to do that every 2 weeks. I barely like just throwing it in the machine and pressing the button. It takes me like 3 days just to do that. I don't like washing or folding my clothes right now. But that lets me know that having that power of the washing machine and being able to do things like that made things easier for our great-grandparents, right? Yeah. But what's interesting in that, Serena, is that we're kind of like them. Like before we became followers of Jesus, we were like the people who had to wash laundry the hard way, don't you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. Once you begin a relationship with God and start following Jesus, you were like given a washing machine. Yeah. And now you can live with power.
Yeah, and dreamers, you can live with that power, but you don't always have to use it, that power that God gives you. But do you really not want to use it and have to be like a person who is washing clothes the hard way, doing all those things that Miss Serena just talked about, when we could just be doing things the easy way and using a washing machine? Wow. Now, of course, having that machine does make things easier for you, just like having this power that comes from following Jesus makes things easier for you. This power makes things easier, and as a follower of Jesus, it means that we can rely less on what we have and learn to depend more on the power that comes from God. And that's what Jesus was really trying to tell us.
Exactly. But in the Old Testament, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 29, it says, God gives power to the faint and strengthens the powerless. Meaning, whenever we feel that we don't have the power to do something, we can always look to God for some strength, and we must always remember that.
Yeah, and remember, dreamers, there are plenty of examples of people doing this before you, plenty of examples of believers in the Bible who were depending on God's power to do amazing things. Moses, for example, relied on God's power when he was freeing the slaves.
Yeah.
David relied on God's power when he was fighting Goliath, and even Jesus himself relied on God's power when he was on the cross and wanted to give up. All these people I just named wouldn't have been able to do these great things before, but were able to do them because of God's power.
So basically, because God is on our side, and if we follow the path of Jesus, we have access to more power.
That's exactly right. Because we do those things, we have access to that power. And all we have to do is just ask God for that power. So dreamers, always remember that as you go through the week, as you go through the rest of the month, as you go through the rest of the year, you're going to face challenges. And it is up to you whether you choose to face those challenges the hard way, or you could pray to God to give you the power to make those challenges easier for you.
Yes, God is always there, available for you, and is always willing to give you the power to make challenges easier for you and to have the victory over any and everything that comes against you.
That's right, kids. Please always remember that. But before we go, we have some questions to ask you that you can think about during the week before we meet you next week on our live Zoom session.
So question number 1, can you remember a time in your life when you felt you didn't have any power?
Question number 2, what is God's power and why do we need it?
Question number 3, how can God's power help you when you're struggling?
And the last question is, who or what do you think is the most powerful thing in the world? And what makes that person or thing so powerful? But just in case you missed those, we'll go back over them one more time.
Question number 1, can you remember a time in your life when you felt you didn't have any power?
Question number 2, what is God's power and why do we need it?
Question number 3, how can God's power help you when you're struggling?
And finally, question number 4, who or what do you think is the most powerful thing in the world? And what makes that person or thing so powerful? Young Dreamers, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for clicking the link on today. We had such a great time doing this.
Hey, what's up? You are so cool for watching this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day.